The moon hung low, glowing red like freshly spilled blood. Deep in the dense Oke-Aje forest, the crackle of fire echoed in the silence. Kneeling before the rolling flame was Jide, a man tormented by desperation and greed. Before him stood a figure cloaked in shadow, the priest. His face was painted with ash, and his eyes gleamed like those of predators. "You must decide before the fire dies," the priest growled, his voice low and menacing. Jide clenched the small wooden box in his hand. Inside were items that tied him to his 10-year-old daughter, Amina, her hair, her bead bracelet, and a photograph. His heart raised as the priest repeated the words that had brought him here. "A heart for a heart, Jide. Only your daughter's sacrifice will bind Madam Ebun to you. Wealth, power, love, everything you desire will be yours, but only if you pay the price." Jide's mind swayed with memories of Amina, her laughter, her sparkling eyes, and the way she clung to him after her mother's death. But her smile couldn't pay the landlord, and her joy couldn't feed them. Madam Ebun, the wealthiest woman in the city, was his ticket to a better life. "She's just a child," Jide whispered, his voice trembling. "She is the key," the priest snapped. "Without her, you will remain nothing, a man with nothing to his name." The fire hissed and popped, casting grotesque shadows on the trees. Jide's stomach twisted, but the allure of wealth was too strong. He thought of Madam Ebun's mansion, her cars, her jewelry. With her love, he could become a king in the city. "I will do it," Jide said, his voice barely audible. The priest's lip curled into a wicked smile. "Good. Return tomorrow night with the child." The next day was quiet at home. Jide avoided Amina's curious gaze as she played with her doll. Guilt gnawed at him, but he hardened his heart. This was for their future, he told himself. That evening, he led Amina into the forest under the pretext of gathering firewood. She skipped along, clenching his hand, unaware of the danger. Oh, little Amina. When they reached the clearing, the priest was waiting, his face illuminated by the eerie red glow of the fire. "Place her on the altar," the priest commanded. Amina's laughter stopped. "Papa, what's happening?" Jide's hand shook as he lifted her onto the cold stone slabs. Tears streamed down his eyes as Amina's innocent eyes looked onto him. "Papa, please," she cried. The priest began to chant, his voice rising in intensity. Jide turned away, unable to watch as the knife gleamed in the firelight. When the deed was done, the forest fell silent. Jide sank to his knees, consumed by guilt. Days later, Madam Ebun suddenly took an interest in Jide. She invited him into her home, showered him with gifts, and declared her love for him. It was everything Jide had dreamed of, yet he found no joy in it. Amina's face haunted him every moment. Madam Ebun's behavior grew increasingly strange. She became possessive, her laughter hollow and unnatural. At night, Jide heard whispers in the dark, voices calling his name. Shadows moved in the corners of his vision. One night, he woke to find Amina standing at the foot of his bed, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Why, Papa?" she asked, her voice echoing. Jide screamed, waking Madam Ebun. "It's the guilt," she said, stroking his face. "You will get over it. Don't worry, you will forget her soon." But the vision didn't stop. The priest appeared in his dream, taunting him. "You thought you could cheat fate, Jide. There is always a prize." Jide discovered that Madam Ebun had begun to deteriorate. She was deteriorating. Her skin grew pale, and her eyes turned hollow. She started speaking in tongues, her voice shifting between laughter and scream. Realizing that the charm had cost them both, Jide comforted the priest. "You didn't tell me this would happen." The priest laughed. "You wanted love and wealth. I gave it to you, but you cannot escape the consequence of blood magic." Jide vowed to the end. He vowed to end the curse, and with the knowledge from the priest's cryptic warnings, he returned to the forest to destroy the altar. The forest was alive that night, its trees gnawing and the branches clawing at the sky. Jide carried a lantern and a small knife, his heart pounding with fear as he approached the altar. Amina's ghost appeared. "Papa, it's too late," she said, her voice soft and forgiving. Tears streamed down his eyes. "I'm sorry, my child, I'm sorry." The priest appeared, his form now monstrous. "You cannot undo what has been done," he roared. Jide lunged at the altar, smashing the stone with his knife. The forest erupted into chaos as the priest screamed in fury. The spirits trapped by the ritual were released, and Amina's ghost glowed brightly before the feeding into the night. In the aftermath, Jide was found in the forest, lifeless but with a peaceful expression. Madam Ebun regained her senses, her memories of Jide wiped away. The village whispered of the man who had traded his soul for greed and paid the ultimate price. And the Oke-Aje forest remained silent and watching, waiting for the next desperate soul to wander into its depths. Subscribe, like, and